the next question is a bit on the lighter side, but it gets at an issue that you were also familiar with during your presidency.
Hey there, Bill. Ballrock here with a question for you. With Republican obstructionism at a all-time high.
No!
No! It's getting next to impossible to get needed reform passed or vacant government positions filled.
No!
So my question for you is, do you think that the Senate should get rid of the filibuster?
No!
So people like to have fun on YouTube, but the question is legitimate. What do you think about the filibuster?
I think it has outlived its usefulness. You know, it's not in the Constitution. There is enough guarantee of minority representation by the fact that every state has 2 senators. So let's say Wyoming, or to take a Democratic state, Rhode Island, they have as many votes in the Senate as California, Texas, New York, Florida. And I think about how much money it cost us. We had 55 Democratic senators when I was trying to pass health care. The only reason we didn't pass it is we didn't have 60. If we'd had 60, we would have passed it. And I think the idea behind the filibuster is that complicated issues should be, and deeply controversial ones, should be debated for longer periods of time. One of the senators, I think maybe it was Senator Harkin, said that he favored a phase out of the filibuster. That, you know, the first time you'd have to get 60 votes. And then if you had 2 or 3 more weeks of debate, it would drop to 58. If you had a couple more, it would drop to 56. But eventually, you'd get down to majority rule. Because what happens is you wind up, A, either never getting a vote, or B, making everybody a dictator. Make every individual senator a dictator. You remember all that stuff that was put into the health care bill, and thanks to people like you highlighting it, most of the special pleading elements were taken back out. But there's a reason that happened. The filibuster rule. Everybody became a dictator.
Right.
Everybody could say, well, I'll vote for it if you do this or that or the other thing. And it's anti-democratic. So if they want to make sure we have plenty of time to debate it, and that there's every effort made to achieve a bipartisan solution, and that all the complexities are explored, maybe the best thing to do is to keep it for the first go-round, then let a couple of weeks expect and lower the number, and then lower the number and lower the number. But as it is, I think it's a very bad thing. It also puts enormous pressure on any president coming in wanting to change things, to try to get everything jammed into the budget, because the budget is the only thing not subject to the filibuster. And I remember Senator Byrd changed his position on this shortly before he died, but Senator Byrd supported health care reform when I was president, but strongly opposed it being put into the budget. And there was something in the Senate, still is, called the Byrd Rule, which says that non-germane areas cannot be dealt with in the budget, even if they cost money. So when he said it didn't belong in the budget, it wasn't going into the budget, especially since he had credibility, since he was going to vote for health care reform. Then when he changed his position in this legislative session, gave the president a little more leverage.
Right.
Even though, in fairness, the White House didn't want to look like it was pulling a fast one by putting it into the budget. So we wound up getting 60 votes. But it was, you know, we would have never had a budget in 1993 if we had the filibuster rule. It only passed by 1 vote.
Yeah. I think a lot of people like this question on YouTube are frustrated a bit of the politics.
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah.
They should be. And we should be prepared to live with it, people in my party, when we lose. The American people, when they vote, they ought to have a chance to have their majority manifest. And if the majority goes too far, then they'll vote against them the next time. But I think this filibuster has done a lot of damage. It's been used more probably in the last, was used more under me than ever before. And now it's been used at least as much against President Obama.
let's move on to the developing world again. And this
Good question,
from,
Mr. President.